Hey friends, welcome back to the channel where every week I create delicious meals that don't cost a lot of money. And in this short video, I'm continuing the theme of meals that are fast and easy to prepare. This week, I found inspiration in these little gravy mixes. If there's ever a time to use these, it's definitely summer or around the holidays or any time you just need to get dinner on the table quickly. And I've collected these over the years, but I almost always make my own gravy. It's very easy to do, but this is just one step faster and it's great for all kinds of dinners. So I looked through my stash that I have here and I decided that I would use a brown gravy mix, and these are less than 50 cents. So they are very inexpensive and they're going to be a great inspiration for today's meal. So I'm going to, obviously, the first thing I thought of was rice, but you could do potatoes or you could also do noodles if that's what you have in your house. I also have this green bell pepper that looks like it's a few days old and it's going to be perfect in here. And then I also found some onion. So basically you can do a very extreme budget dinner here. You can buy all of these ingredients for less than $3 and have a delicious meal. Or if you want, you can add in some protein. You can go to the butcher counter and get a half of a pound of ground beef. I snatched some of this from my son, so I thought I would make a dish with that today. And then I also will show you a plant-based option for people that don't eat meat. But don't feel limited by those ingredients. I was thinking that some lentils would be great in here, and I'm sure there are lots of other ingredients that would work well here also. So it is evening time now, and I'm planning to take this for my lunch tomorrow, but I'm going to try to make things easy on myself. I'm going to prepare the rice now and then put that in the fridge and it'll be ready in the morning. And I did rinse my rice before cooking it. And then I sliced up my peppers and my onions, and I just wanted these kind of thin slices. And as you can see, my pepper is a little old, but it's fine. I'm not even going to tell the difference once it's cooked. So I'm going to put that in the fridge. And then when I wake up, I'm going to finish my meal. And I just wanted to show you my rice turned out perfect. Rice is the foundation for so many great meals in my kitchen. I just love rice and my whole family does. And it's super budget friendly. All right, it is now early the next morning and I wanted to show you my son gave me a gift card to Home Goods and I got a few pans actually like this. I've been wanting a wide, kind of deep, smaller saucepan, and I think that this is just the perfect size. So this is going to be my first meal with this pan. And I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the pan and then add my peppers and onions. I'll add some pepper, but I really don't need to add anything else because that gravy mix is going to give it plenty of seasoning. And of course, it already has sodium in it. And then I covered these and cooked until they were the desired consistency. They still have a little bit of body to them, but when I add in the gravy mix, they'll continue to cook a little bit more. For now, I'm just going to set these aside and I'm going to cook the 8 ounces of ground beef. This is going to be for my son. I think he'll really like this, and he might even want to take this for his lunch at work. So I just browned this in the pan, and it looks like he purchased a very lean meat because there was no oil in here. So I did add a little bit to this. And then I'll add in my brown gravy mix. I only used about 3/4 of a packet of the gravy, so I used about 3/4 cup of water. I'm going to save the remainder for the other mix that I'm going to make. And I think there is a reason that these gravy mixes are best sellers for the stores. That's because people really enjoy having the shortcut to the meals. I can think of so many different meals that I could start with just this gravy packet. it would be delicious over a baked potato, along with maybe some other vegetable on top. And that could be a very inexpensive meal. So many different ways to use this. You could just pour it over bread and then have like a vegetable on the side, or like a bean or something on the side, and that would be good. You could add this to the crock pot and add like a stew, a cheap cut of stew meat, and then just pour this in and let that sit. And it might be more like an au jus sauce. You know, you could add a little additional water, or you could add less and make it thicker. I want to try this first because I want to give you guys my honest opinion what this tastes like. I did let this simmer for a little bit, but of course I edited the video down, but I just want to get a good bite with everything in this. You could also serve this over egg noodles or some other kind of pasta. I think that that would be delicious as well. All right, I'm going to try this and let you know what I think. It has a lot of flavor. I really like this. I do love gravy in general, and it's very easy to make a delicious gravy. However, the ease and convenience of using these packets is what makes this so valuable, and you can make some cheap meals with these. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of this beef and peppers dish that my son wanted me to try once when he was at a Chinese restaurant. I think it was called pepper steak, and it had thin slices of beef, and it was stir-fried with peppers and I think garlic and ginger and something else. But you could obviously, that's a route that you could go with this as well. I don't eat much meat, but if I did, ground beef would probably be what I would eat because it has a great texture and it takes on the flavor of whatever seasonings you're cooking it with. But anyway, as you can see, I'm going a different route for my lunch. First, I'm going to try this without anything because I do have viewers that are really struggling to pay for food. And so I think really even just making this rice with the peppers and onions with the gravy is a really delicious and filling meal. Like I said, you could always add in some lentils or something else very inexpensive to that, and it would be delicious. But for my lunch today, I thought I would try to use these meatballs that I like, and I just cut those up and I'm adding them to the dish the same way that I did with the ground beef. And I ended up having to add a little bit more of the gravy mix in here, but I had a few of these. I think I bought these years ago and they've just been sitting in my pantry. So it was nice when I was inspired to try some meals with these because I'm finally able to use these. And okay, this is really good. The first time I tried this though, I could still taste the flavor of the meatballs and they were kind of competing a little bit with the flavor of the gravy. And so I was thinking to myself that the regular ground beef worked a lot better because it just readily took on that flavor. But then I had this later for my lunch, and by then it had marinated in that gravy long enough that it had completely absorbed all of the flavor. Because there's some kind of seasoning, I don't remember what it is in those meatballs, that is kind of bold. But anyhow, it ended up being perfect at lunchtime. I probably just didn't simmer this long enough. And that can happen with a lot of different kinds of meals where you undercook something and it might taste kind of bland. This happens especially with soups. So sometimes the quick fix for a bland meal is just cooking a little bit longer. I wanted to show you some of the other meals I've made over the years with gravy. I'm just such a big, huge gravy lover, and it makes everything taste good. I love country gravy, or also called milk gravy, on biscuits along with eggs. I think that's super delicious. And here I was making some brown gravy. I tried to make it thin enough so that it would seep through the rice, and then I topped it with these fried onions. That was very, very good as well. And then here I was making a budget video for a family of 4, and I made some fried chicken with this 10-pound bag of value chicken that I got at Walmart, and I just used the gravy over the mashed potatoes and some biscuits, and that turned out to be a very economical and delicious meal. And here's just another shot of some biscuits and gravy that I made, but there are so many different ways to use gravy. And here was a time that I was trying to use the gnocchi. I think I had purchased that from Dollar Tree, and I was just trying the various ways to make it. And I tried it with some gravy and a side of broccoli, and it was fabulous. It was really, really good. And if you think about it, gnocchi is made with potatoes, so it does make sense that it would make a delicious kind of comfort meal with the brown gravy. And I was also thinking about those delicious mashed potato patties that I made a couple of months ago when I did that Dollar Tree haul. I had added some white beans into this to give it more protein, just to up the nutritional content of it. And I had used these instant mashed potatoes, and those turned out so good. And I thought that that would be delicious if we added either the brown gravy or the country gravy to the top of these. And actually, they have a mushroom gravy that I think would be really good also. I did have another meal that I wanted to make for this video, but I just ran out of time this week. So I'll try to incorporate that into a future budget video. But I do hope you enjoyed this week's video. And most of all, I hope the ideas in this video will inspire you to create your own budget-friendly meals so that you can be as happy cooking as this person is. Or this person. I know that I'm always happy when I'm in the kitchen, so I hope you are too. All right, I think I'm taking this a little too far. Thanks so much for watching, friends. I'll see you next week.
Morning has broken, my windows are open. Wanna feel the wind blow through my hair. Which way do I follow? What happens tomorrow? I turn to you and hope you can guide the way. Sometimes I